FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Butialas, no call! Score!
Salamini for Cole. Cole on the run. Shoots. 2-0.
Lazanovsky with the free kick. Launches a rocket! Trimboli, what vision!
Bath blasts.
Yes! That's it!
Miljevic.
Beautiful ball.
Here's Bozanic. They might have won it!
The Pioneers with George Danikian and George Kotsanis on FNR, Football Nation Radio.
You answer me, and then I continue telling the story, all right?
What am I answering?
I'll introduce you. Yeah.
Mike's up.
Good evening. I'm joined by George Kotsanis. Hello, George.
Good evening, George.
It's that time of the week,
Best
and we
time of the
have
week.
another guest. His name is Dino Marchi. And just before we go and introduce Dino, or welcome him to the studio at FNR, we're just going to give a little bit of a background. One of the first homegrown talents who played from the mid-1960s to the mid-70s for one of the giants of the Victorian State League. The team, of course, in the black and white stripes, known as Juventus. He was born in Carlton, by the way, but first started playing as a youngster with Hellas in the under-12s.
Interesting little fact.
Yeah, and from there he went on to play for Coa, Paran, or was it St Kilda? The interesting thing there was that he wanted to make his way to another club, and there was a problem with the clearance. Even then, they had politics in football.
No way.
And it took him about 8 weeks to get that clearance. So for 8 weeks, what do you think he did? He played VFL football with guys called Sheedy and Kevin Bartlett.
Kevin and Kevin.
He was nicknamed, at his peak, the Bison. Yeah? Dino Marchi was a striker who knew not only how to score, but he made his name at a time when many of the stars of the State League were players from overseas. Many former internationals who played for their country. And although Dino never played for his country, it's said that a little bit of football politics cost him a chance to join the Socceroos in '74. And as you'll discover, Dino was superstitious. Just how superstitious we'll find out in just a moment.
We'll find out.
We might even ring Liliana, his wife, who, of course, gave him special dispensation to be with us in the studio at FNR. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Dino Marchi.
Thank
How
you
are you,
very,
sir?
I'm very good, thank you very much.
Welcome to the show.
Can you take
Thank
us
you.
way back to those days in the mid-50s, the early 50s, when you thought, this is not a bad caper, this football. I don't like running, but I'm going to play football.
Yes, I can bring you back to the 50s. I started with them in 1952 as a mascot.
As a mascot?
Yes, I did. Yes,
All the good ones start as mascots.
Yes, I was a mascot for Juventus, and I enjoyed it. I met a lot of migrants. They came out here and showed us how to play soccer. And in those days, JOST, Juventus, Polonia, George Cross, they were all great. And no, I enjoyed it. Yes, I had a great time. Yep.
Dino, what were the crowds like in those days?
Even in those days, Juventus would play against Hellas, or actually it wasn't Hellas then, it was South Melbourne, and then they became Poundalini. I'm talking about 6,000-7,000 people even in those days at showgrounds, Olympic Park. Yeah.
You played at Middle Park too?
I played at Middle Park, and in front of about 15,000, they actually closed the gates. And I don't know if I can tell you this little story, but
We hope you do.
well,
why you're here.
Hellas brought three top international Greeks out, and I happened to be playing against one at centre half, and he actually was very bad because he kept on spitting on the back of my neck.
Oh.
And I actually walked up to Roger Lamb and I said to Roger, listen, Roger, this bloke's spitting on me. And he said, there's nothing I can do about it. And at the same time, my mother was sitting in the grandstand, and a bloke called Eric Norman said to me, look, Dino, the next time he goes to spit on your neck, stand on his, like I'm about 19, 20 years old, he says, stand on his foot, and as he comes down, just bring the old elbow up and hit him in the mouth. And I thought, oh my God, 15,000 Greeks and Italians there. So anyhow, the bloke went to spit and I stood on his toe, and as he came down I elbowed him and I turned around and I broke his nose. His blood was pouring out from everywhere, and this gentleman sitting next to my mum yelled out, "Oh, you son of a bitch," and Mum got up and said, "He's my son," and dolted him across the head with his bag, with a bag.
The DeMarchis in tandem. Well done.
Who gave you the nickname the Bison?
Mr. Basili, he was the used to write for The Age, and he gave it to me because he apparently there's someone in Italy used to be called that. And, I was very strong. I took the knocks, but I also gave them back. But as soon as they knocked me down, I was up again. There was none of this running around and calling the referee and all that. So it was great, and I had a good career. I one yellow card and one red card in all my career. So
That's not too bad.
No.
One.
Yeah, one yellow card and one red card.
For an extended career, that's very good.
Yeah.
Just going to take you back
Yep.
to Carlton,
Yep.
being a kid. Now, we
Yep.
were talking earlier, so I get to hear these things firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
You really loved your AFL.
I did, yes.
VFL.
VFL
It was
at the
AFL
time.
that time.
Oh, Australian football.
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Aussie rules football. Yeah.
you would have played footy, I reckon.
I did. I actually played football for school. I used to play training on Thursday with soccer, football training on Friday, Saturday soccer, and Sunday soccer in those days. I used to love it. It was great. Yeah.
So what do you reckon turned it? There was you headed you towards soccer. What was it that?
My uncle and my auntie,
Yeah.
they got me into playing soccer. In those days, my auntie used to knit me the Juventus jumper, and in I think it was 1960 something, we used to have the Laidlaw World Cup.
Yep.
Which used to be Italian, Italy, Germany.
The best of the best.
The best of the best, yeah. You could, doesn't know which team you played for, as long as you was Italian or Greek, you went for the Greek side. And she knitted me the old Italian jumper, and I was a mascot then, so I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was
That
good.
had a big influence on you.
Yeah, but I still would have loved to play football. Australian rules.
Yeah. So
Our
tell us.
guest in the studio is Dino DeMarchi, and what I want to know is, you were superstitious.
Yes, I was.
Give us an idea how superstitious.
Well, I used to wake up in the morning and put my soccer boots on. As soon as I walked out of the bedroom, walk around the room, and my mother used to tell me off, but I said, "Mum, that's the way I am. I want to get used to my soccer boots." Got to the ground, never wore shin pads. I used to run onto the park with my boots untied, and then I used to tie them up and start playing.
Start scoring.
Yeah, start scoring, yeah.
So you didn't start at Juventus. You playing. You had a few other junior clubs before that.
Yes,
Talk us through that.
I played with Hellas
Yeah.
at the start, and my old mate Michael Mandalis, he was there. We grew up together, and we played I was 12 years old, and he was about the same age, and we played in the under-14s at Hellas, and then Hellas didn't have under-16, so he went to Harcourt, and I happened to go to St Kilda that Peran Slavia was running the club, and I enjoyed myself there with a bunch of boys that hardly ever played soccer, and it was really great. And I think we finished up coming runners up.
Okay. And then how did you find yourself getting over to Juventus?
Through my uncle and that, Juventus started to have juniors then, and like I said before, it took me 8 weeks before I got a transfer. It was all politics, and they wanted transfer money and this and that, and in those days clubs couldn't pay it. So I got into Juventus, and as I said, I played. In 1961, I played 4 games in the 5 games in the seniors, 4 games in the reserves, and I had this coach, and he put me in the midfield, and he said, "You see that guy over there?" And I said, "Yes," and he said, "Wherever he goes, you go." And I thought, "Oh yeah," being just a young one. So I started chasing this guy, come off at half time, and I said to the coach, "Mate, it's not for me. Put me somewhere else. He's running too much." So that's when I became a striker.
You mentioned that 8 weeks
Yeah.
waiting for the clearance to come
Yeah.
through. So you went off and played some Aussie rules again, and with a couple of big names,
Yeah,
Kevin and Kevin.
Kevin and Kevin.
What position did you play?
Centre half forward.
Tell us.
Key position, man.
Yeah, I played centre half forward. I used to play for the Tri Boys Youth Club. It was under 16s, and of course Kevin's parents and my parents and
Which Kevin?
Kevin Sheedy, both Kevin's
both
parents all shopped at the Paran Market.
It's like being with George and George.
Yeah, and so they used to shop, and Kevin said to me, "Oh, why don't you come and have a game of football?" I said, "Oh, that's terrific." And so I went up to Tri Boys and played in the under-16s, and then he went, and in the old days there used to be a club called Paran in the association, which is still going, but it's the AFL, I think it's the AFL Reserves. He said, come and have a trial. So I said, okay, I'll come and have a trial. And of course in those days the old football boots were right up to the ankles, and I had my little soccer boots on. And we started playing, come in at half time, and the gentleman comes over to me and he grabbed me by the leg and he said, and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm scrubbing all the mud off your boots. I said, there's no mud on my boots, the ground's perfect. Went out in the third quarter, and all I can remember is handball into some player, and some bloke just thumped me, and I just turned around to Kev and I said, hey Kev, not for me mate, it's too hard, but I still took it.
So, George, let me get this straight from Dino. There are two things you didn't like. Running.
Yeah, that's correct.
Training.
Training.
Yeah.
And biffing people.
Biffing people.
He says he didn't like it, but so far in the first 5 minutes, we've heard him biff 2 people, and his mum's biffed someone. So.
I'm fascinated. 1 yellow card, 1 red card all his life. When you broke that person's nose, that Greek international's nose,
play on.
Did you get a red card or a yellow
No,
card?
I wasn't caught. The referee didn't see it.
No
Nobody
VAR.
seen it.
There was no VAR.
Well, George, in those days, the referees were absolutely fantastic. I was telling George before that they used to talk to you, and we had one referee by the name of George Harrison. He was a policeman, and I'll always remember him. And if I passed a bad ball, you'd swear, you'd say the old F word, and he'd walk up to you and he'd go, Dino, would you like an early shower? I'm the only bloke that can swear on this part, and that was it. And that's how the referees were nowadays.
Good man management.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Very good.
So how did Mum cope with your superstition? Now,
Mum
I know
coped-
she played tough, but
Yeah.
did she give you
coped-
a lot of
no.
leeway too?
Yeah, she gave me a lot of leeway because she knew that I loved playing soccer. So, yeah. The only thing is, I was telling George, when I used to come home from school, first thing she would say, Dino, homework, what's that? You get out with a soccer ball and play soccer all the time. There was no work, no homework then.
Fair enough. So you found your way in the reserves, and you found midfield was definitely not for you.
No, that's right.
Training, chasing, running back.
No. I used to chase when I was up strike because otherwise I wouldn't be playing the next week, so I had to do the running then. But training, no, I never liked. I used to like just playing the old six-a-side games. You know, I thought with six-a-side, it's more interesting. You got to think, you got to move, you know, in your space and all that. But this running, no, that wasn't for me.
Where did you get this nose for goals?
I had an idol in the early days. I gave George one of my fathers. His name was Pepe Cotel, and he was my idol. I used to carry his bag to the ground. I used to look after his bag, and I just learned it from him. And when you're in the 18-yard box, don't worry about dribbling, just hit it, and that's where I learned it from. Yeah.
Now, there's a magnificent gold chain. It's delicate, it's beautiful, and it's been given to you by the Juventus Football Club.
Yep.
In appreciation for your
Yeah,
services.
that was given to me by the not the Juventus when I was playing. It was actually given to me by the Juventus old boys when I was a mascot. As I grew up with them, they gave me the gold medal at a function. Yeah.
It means a lot, huh?
Oh yeah, I cherished that. It was just great.
And you have a special partner that's made life equally special.
Yeah, more.
Liliana.
Yeah, more.
Tell me about her and where did she sit when you were playing football?
You could tell when we were at Olympic Park. All I could see was this smoke coming from, because she used to smoke a lot. So all I could see was her sitting there smoking. And I don't know if you ever knew, there was a guy called Mr. Wellington and Mr. Merrills. When the girls used to come to the Olympic Park, he had all their seats reserved. So that was their seat. No one could take their seats. And yeah, she used to come to all the games. And it's funny that when I first met her, with my auntie again over a telephone call, you know, and I wasn't even interested. I was more interested in my soccer. But we got together, and we will be in February the 10th. We'll be 50 years married.
Oh, congratulations!
It'll be great. Yeah,
Been a good team, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Yes,
She
it has,
supported you, like you said earlier.
Yeah, and my children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. How many children?
I got three children. Yeah.
Names?
Michael, Tanya, and Stephen.
Very good. And I'd just like to thank Tanya for helping me with the research on this.
Thank
Well
you
done,
very
Tanya.
much. Yep.
By the way, any of those three superstitious like their dad?
No, none of them are. No, none of them. Actually, none of them. Michael played soccer, but the other ones played tennis, and but never pushed them. Never, they could do what they liked. So yeah. But there's another couple of stories if I can tell you.
Of course.
We played on Melbourne Cup Day against Altona City at Olympic Park for the Doherty Cup, and I was playing against Alan Davidson. He was full back then, and my wife was in hospital having it. Oh, actually, we lost a child, but so we had another one, and he was the fourth one. And I said before the game, I'm going to score 4 goals today, and everybody laughed at me. And now I scored a hat trick. And the last goal I got, the ball came across, and I actually dived and hit it with the stomach and went in the back of the net. So
you were determined to score.
I was determined to score my 4th goal. Yeah.
Yeah, but you also took a leaf out of your heroes book. You know, you said, "Not mucking around."
Yeah.
You just hit it, and you did with your tummy.
I was just telling George that even in 18-yard box, there was no dribbling. It was just hit. I either went over the bar or it went in. So yeah, I was quite lucky. You know. And the players I played with, I was quite happy because they were all first division players from England, Scotland. I don't know if you've ever heard of a guy called Tommy McCall.
Yeah.
Played at
Yes,
Chelsea. Yeah,
certainly.
As soon as he came to Australia, to us, Juventus, his passing, that's what made my goals easy because the passes were, I didn't have to sort of come
Break
back.
stride.
They put them in front of me and I just hit it inside, yeah.
Great
Learned
to
a lot.
play.
Yeah,
Great to
learned
play with great players. Isn't
Yes, it is, yeah. Yep.
How many times a week did you train?
We train twice a week.
No, how many
No,
times did
you,
you
Oh.
train?
not the team.
Well,
Not
twice-
as much as the team, right?
No, not as much as the team, but in the games I put my effort in. I was telling George before that I can't remember what year it was the Doherty Cup final. Doherty Cup, and we're in the final, and I hadn't played for 10 weeks. And a chappie called Bill Curran, he was coaching our reserves, and he said to me on the Thursday night, "Dino, would you like to? Could you come and help us on the Saturday? The reserves are playing against Alice." I said, "Bill, I haven't played for 10 weeks. What can I, I'll just play in the midfield." And he said, "Yeah, that'd be right." So, cut the story. We finished the game, sat down and had a couple of beers, and on the Sunday it was the final of the Doherty Cup against Melbourne, against Croatia. And the team manager came up to me after the game, and he said, "Oh, what are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Oh, Sunday." I said, "I'm coming to see the boys. It's grand final, and I've always been a Juventus player and I'll support it." And he said, "No, bring your bag." I said, "Bring my bag?" I said, "I haven't played for 10 weeks. He said, "That's all right, just bring your bag." And I was fortunate that one of the players got sick.
Overnight.
Overnight, yeah. Somebody was handy, but anyhow, I got to the ground and Bobby McLaughlin calls the team out and he goes to me, calls my name out, and I went, "Oh, there's something wrong here." So he, and this is all funny, he said to me, "What we'll do is, Duncan Mackay, I don't know if you remember a guy, Duncan, he was coaching Croatia."
Yeah, ex-Celtic player.
Yeah, that's right. He said to me, "Look, Ben, just put your tracksuit top on, run out, and nobody will know that you're playing. This is going to be a tactical move." And I thought, "Oh yeah, that sounds good enough." So now,
So just the tracksuit top's going to put him off the
yeah,
scene, right?
yeah. So now we come inside and the team's ready to run out. And I said, "I'm going." He said, "No, don't you go out." And I said, "Oh, now what's he going to do to me?" He said, "Wait here till all the players go out, then you come out, and that'll frighten Croatia." And I thought, "Oh my God, this is the bloke telling me." I said, "All right." So I ran out, and then everybody started cheering and all that. And we played 120 minutes of soccer. I played for 120 minutes, and
without training for 10 weeks.
Yeah, because when I played on the weekends, I gave everything for my club. Anyhow, we went to extra time. It was 120 minutes. We went to penalties, and Bobby McLaughlin goes, "Oh, you're taking a penalty." I said, "Bobby, I haven't played." And he said, "No, you just take it. You'll be all right." So anyhow, we got to. George McMillan missed the first one. Anyway, we got to the last penalty, and it was my penalty that had to win the game. The whole of Olympic Park just quietened down. You could have dropped a pin and you would have heard it. And John Kennedy was in goals for Croatia, and I actually pointed. I made a mistake. I pointed where I was going to kick it, and he actually went that way, and I put it the other way. And I scored, and the whole ground just erupted. And yeah, it was
A full Olympic Park gone crazy, or half of it anyway.
yeah, but for 1 month I couldn't walk.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, so yeah.
So was that an ongoing technique with the penalties, pointing, or was that just a slip?
No, that was just a slick
You
one
weren't
that
being
day.
cocky.
Sheer
No.
cutting.
Yeah, sheer cutting.
animal cutting. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Hold on to that thought. We've got a few more stories to come out of
Okay.
Dino DeMarchi. You're listening to The Pioneers on FNR. Back with more in just a moment.
I'll just have a drink.
Welcome back to the Pioneers. We're with Dino DeMarchi. Dino, you mentioned before the break, one yellow, one red. Extraordinary for a very long career. Tell us about that red.
Well, first the yellow card was kicking the ball away, and
Disgraceful behaviour.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't offside anyhow. So anyhow,
Clearly.
because I was going for goals.
He's got a good memory.
No forward is ever offside. Just ask Archie.
The red card was we were playing against Middle Park, and there was a guy called Mickey Sinclair, and we sort of tackled each other. And as I got up, he sort of headbutted me. Well, he's supposed to have headbutted me, so I kicked him as hard as I could, and I fell on the ground. John Yolland was the referee. He came up and he said to Mickey, "Here's a card for you." Gave him the red card. Our masseur come on and he said to John, "I'm going to take Dino off for 5 minutes. He's got a bit of a headache." And John said, "Don't worry about taking him off. He's staying off." And he gave me a red card. We went to tribunal on the Tuesday night. Mickey Sinclair went in and he told his story, and he came out and I said, "How'd you go?" He said, "Oh, we've got to go back in again." I went in and I was very lucky because the chappie that was on the board, on the tribunal, was my ex-coach at Juventus, and one of the other one was the secretary of the club. So I explained what I'd done, and I went out and Mickey went in. Mickey came out. I said, "How'd you go, Mick?" He slammed the door. He said, "I've got 3 weeks." I said, "Well, if you've got 3 weeks ahead, but I must get about 7. I walked inside, and David McIntosh said to me, he said, "Dino, the size of your legs, if you had kicked him, you would never play soccer again." So I got nothing. So I was lucky.
I would have thought your great record, your reputation for being a clean skin would have saved you, but that's an even better story.
Friends at head office, you reckon, wouldn't work in soccer?
Stacked against poor Sinclair.
Yeah.
Do you ever forgive you?
As soon as we got out, we went for a beer.
That's the way to do it.
Well, that's what it was like in those days, George. We used to probably kick the hell out of each other, finish the game, shake hands, and all up to the bar and having a few beers together.
Enjoyed a beer then. Enjoyed a chat with the boys.
We sure did.
Very good. Very good.
Tell us about some of the best matches, the biggest competition during those days
because
when you were playing for Juventus.
Our biggest competition for me was always against Hellas, Croatia, and George Cross, and JUST. JUST was a very, very, very good side. They very skillful, and they also let you play soccer. There was because they were all Yugoslav, except for one his name was Billy Rice.
That sounds Yugoslav to me. Billy Rice.
But he was Irish actually, and he only had his left foot, and they kept on telling me when the ball comes going to his right, but I couldn't. By the time I got the ball, he chopped me. So, but it was clean. It wasn't a dirty sort of thing. But my hardest bloke I ever played against was a guy called Irimiadis. He played for Hellas. And that man, if you said to him, "Go through a brick wall," he would have gone through it. He was so hard. And he was dirty. He wasn't fair. He used to punch you and everything. But we just took it and we gave it back to him when the referee wasn't watching.
All's fair in love and war.
Exactly right, yeah.
Very good. Now, you had a chance about 67 to go overseas. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we had a coach called Mario Corti, and he came up to me one day and he said, "The way your skills and the way you hit the ball at goals and all that, you could actually play in Italy." And in those days there, my apprenticeship, I was doing the sheet metal work, and I took the apprenticeship instead of, what's your name?
Going
overseas. But talking about that, I'll tell you another little story if it's okay. When we first got married, because I love my soccer so much, we used to play against a team called Appia every year in friendly games, and I knew a couple of the players, and they said, "When you come on your honeymoon, would you like to come up, and have dinner with us?" And so we said, "Okay." So we went to Sydney and we went to the Appia Club
in Leichhardt.
In Leichhardt, yes. Yeah. And we had a meal, and this is I think it was Sunday or Monday, And we finished, and I went to pay, and they said, no, don't pay, we'll look after you. And anyhow, the player comes up and he said, what are you doing Tuesday night? And I said, hang on a second, I'm on my honeymoon, what do you want me to do? He said, can you come down training? And I said, no training. I said, I'm on my honeymoon. And that's why I was lucky to have a wife like Leonardo, that she helped me. And so anyhow, I said, I got no clothes. Got down to training, and they gave me boots, shorts, socks, jumper and everything. So that was okay. Went back to the club and had a meal. And now he goes, what are you doing Thursday? I said, no, hang on a second. That's it. You know, no, please come down. Anyhow, we had I went to Thursday night and we had a friendly game, and I was playing striker, and this Giacometti, he crossed the ball. I was on the 18-yard box, and I hit a volley, and the goalkeeper saved it, but the ball and him finished in the back of the net. He was in mid-air, and the strike of the ball actually threw him in the back of the net. Yeah.
It wasn't Johnny Giacometti, was it?
Yeah.
Well, I played with Johnny Giacometti at Wentworth Park. He was playing for Arpi, I was playing for Panellini.
Yeah. You would have had Philip Bartolico.
Yeah, Metallica, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Tough as.
Yeah,
Tough
that's
as.
right. Yeah,
But I was frightened, they were a lot older. And Nina and...
That's right.
Yeah.
And what we're learning here is what a Saint Liliana is, because he never trained for Juventus normally, and on his honeymoon he's trained twice as a guest player.
But he was getting fed.
Like one free meal, so he
Yeah.
gave training.
Yeah, and after the game, there was about 1,500 people watching, and they all come up to me after the game and said, "You coming to Sydney to play?" And I was 21 years old, and I said, "The president will have a word with you." Anyhow, the president offered me a job behind a wine bar, a house. It's so much money, but I still said to my wife, "What do you think?" And she said, I would like to go back to Melbourne," and because she only had a father and a mother and a brother. So I said, fair enough, and that's what I finished playing with Juventus. Lucky, because Apia finished it. So yeah.
Amazing.
You made the right decision.
That was a remarkable club, Apia.
Yes, it was.
And indeed, making great strides again to rise, just as Marconi is in Sydney at the moment. They've been promoted into the NPL again, so those old clubs are coming back.
Yeah, it's good.
George is our resident keeper in here, keeps reminding us. Now,
you should have played keeper. You didn't like training or didn't like running.
No, I didn't.
But I believe you did end up playing keeper.
Yes, I played against George Cross. I volunteered to. Our goalkeeper got injured, and we didn't have a reserve goalkeeper in those days, and so I volunteered to play. But come off at half time, and I don't know where they got this goalkeeper from. He finished up playing the second half, so I couldn't play anymore because I already had to be taken off. Yeah, but I enjoyed playing the goalkeeping. Didn't get a goal scored against me.
A clean sheet.
Clean sheet. Yeah, so I was happy.
You should have played goalkeeper.
No, as I said to you before, you've got to be good or stupid at playing goals.
Thanks very much for that.
We built it up and it finally came out. I was waiting for 2 minutes for that. Very good. Now, this is one of your rare interviews, right? You don't do many. Well, you didn't get a lot of opportunity to do a lot of media in your day.
No, I didn't, no.
Right. But you did do a special one
yes,
back in 1970.
That's correct, yeah. We won the championship, we won the Doherty Cup, we won the Australian Top 4, and Channel 9 were doing the television at that time, and Jimmy Hannon was doing it. And after the game, he came in our dressing room and he said, I would like 5 players to come to Melbourne tonight on Monday night. So I was called up, and a few of the Scottish boys, and anyhow, on Monday night we went to, they were sitting in the front, and our next to Jimmy Hannon goes, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to present the champions of Australia and Victoria from Juventus, and he called us onto the stage, and of course I think it was planned, but anyhow, I was standing there, and George and Jimmy Hannon goes, call your names out, and then he turned to me and he goes, you're the only Australian-born playing. Can you tell them your name? And I went, Dino Marchi. And they all started laughing. I was supposed to be Australian. I got an Italian name. So,
that's right. Exactly.
So everything, everybody started laughing. But that was good. Good to be interviewed then. Yeah.
And 40 odd years later, here's your next interview.
Yeah,
more or
exactly
less.
right. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And we're not laughing at your surname.
No.
Definitely not.
It's a real deal.
Well, George, in our old days, I'll tell you what, the names they used to call us, I reckon we wouldn't be playing now.
That's right.
Or you
We'd
would
be
probably-
fighting.
Yeah, correct, yes.
No, it's a different world, isn't it?
Yeah, is it? Yes.
What
it
do you
is.
make of the football today? Dino?
Well, I was telling George before, I've only actually seen 2 A-League games. I mostly go and see Moreland Zebras, which is the old Juventus colours and all that. But I get very frustrated. I like it. I've started watching it. A couple of years there, I really lost interest. I don't know why. People ask me, but I think I might have had just a little bit too much of soccer between playing and coaching. But then I got back into watching it. I've been watching the A-League a bit on the TV now. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned coaching. Who
Yeah,
did you coach?
I coached Juventus reserves, Juventus under-18s. I started off first, and that's when I had Eddie Krunovic, Branko Kolina, and Oscar Krina at the club. And
There's a bit of talent in those 3 names.
Gee, that's a fantastic roller.
yeah, and
Did you make them run?
I made when I coached,
course you
everybody
made them
run.
run.
Yes, everybody was running. But in that time there, I said to the committee, I said, look, guys, these 3 blokes have got talent. Don't get rid of them. But they got rid of them, and they all finished up playing for Australia. Yeah, they left as soon as next year they left us and went to, I think they went to Croatia, I think, and Branko and them. Yeah, they all left, which was sad, but.
What a fantastic part of the CV. You had 3 young stars
Yeah.
under your belt there, and you were coaching them.
Yep.
And the 3 of them, all
Yeah.
3, have
Yeah.
gone on to
Yeah.
not only play
Yeah.
for Australia, but also coach.
That's right. Yeah.
And they've been very successful.
A little story about the coaching too. It's a bit of a laugh. Pat Del Rocco played centre half. He was coaching under 16s. He was coaching actually Ralph Barber at the time. And we had this, Fabian Cantalupo's father was team manager, and he had this car and it's full of soccer balls, and I only had 1 soccer ball. And I thought, that's unfair. How come he's getting... So I said to Mr. Cantalupo, I said, look over there, there's something over there. And as he turned around, I took about 7 balls and put them in my... So yeah, I was a bit of a character, I think, in those days. But I coached Faulkner Reserves to a championship. I played at Faulkner for 2 years. 70.
Enjoy your time there?
Oh yes, I had
Yeah?
a great time. Yeah, terrific club. It was a family. Yeah. And then I took over. Actually, I took over the reserves, and then the year after, they asked me to coach the seniors. I had 2 games, and then they got Cheeto Cherkovic. He coached, and he said he didn't want an assistant, so it didn't worry me. I was just helping the club. So I went and played back and played with Springvale City. Only in the reserves, but I just enjoyed playing soccer. And then I finished up coaching a club called Waverley United. It was in the amateur league. So I took them from amateur league to about the 2nd or 3rd. We won championship and got promoted to about the 3rd provisional league in that year.
What were the sort of tenets of your coaching theory? Was it possession football?
Yeah, it was. We used to always. I actually bought my own soccer balls. I bought 15 soccer balls, cones, tops. I used to take them to training on a Tuesday, take them home, wash all the soccer balls. My wife used to wash all the tops. Thursday night was the same. So every night we had training, we always had clean soccer balls. And we used to start off with a few stretches. No, sorry, a warm-up. I used to play a warm-up because I was told that if you stretched before you train, you can also do a hamstring and all that.
Yeah.
And so we used to warm
Sports
up.
science, see? It rears its ugly head again.
So we used to play a little game. I used to get them to dribble and then in the square, and then I used to get them to so you could knock each other's ball out, like possession and keep that. And then we'd have a game and play a game for about half an hour, 6-a-side. And then I got into the hard stuff, the running.
And you'd sit with a whistle, I bet.
No, we didn't have whistles in those days. I didn't have a whistle. I had the famous Manny Poulikakis training. He used to do the magic square. I don't know if you ever heard of that one.
But
We're about
Manny
to.
Poulikakis
Yeah.
was the coach of the team of the century at South Melbourne.
Yeah, that's right. When he came and coached us, he taught me a lot. We used to train at Olympic Park, but outside where the army barracks used to be. And we played on a Sunday, and we won, I think, 4-0. And he took us out, and it was raining and it was mud. And he said, "We're going to do the magic square tonight, and this is the full ground. You jogged one, sprint one, jog one." And then it was the whole forum.
The old fartlek training.
Oh, yeah, no, I said, no, not for me. I said, well, I still had to do it.
George Katsanis knows about that.
Do you know about
Yeah,
that?
no, I've watched a lot of teams that I played for do that.
You didn't do it.
That's silly.
Actually, another little story I can tell you is
Yeah.
that when I went to Faulkner, we had this coach, and first Tuesday night, we come out, and he looked at me and he goes, "Okay, boys, 22 laps." And I looked around and I said, "Are you talking to me or are you talking to the bloke behind me?" And I said, "No, sorry, I'm not doing 22 laps." So, you know. And Thursday night he come over and he did the commando under the ropes and over. And I said, "No, not from me. I come here to play soccer, not to go in the army."
I'm a footballer, not
We
a
had
horse.
some stories that we learnt from our time doing a documentary for Moreland City, not the
Oh, yeah.
Zebras, but Moreland City.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to hear about a couple of characters who, as soon as they left the ground Campbell Reserve on their way around this 5Ks or 8Ks,
Yeah.
they would sneak behind a tree or two and wait for the group to come back, and they'd jump in, they'd wet their hair or their face with some water from the tap, so that they felt like, or gave the impression to all and sundry that they'd been running.
Yeah.
And they thought that worked for them.
Yeah, that wasn't for me, though. That was me. Myself, I'll tell you, there was myself, Gary Salisbury and Ronnie Frost. When they started running, we used to run across botanical gardens, wait for them, find a bit of water, rub it over our face, and what's her name? And yeah, so join the crowd. But I think you would remember a guy called Paddy Sloan.
The name's familiar.
He coached Hellas.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a fitness fanatic, and he trained us for 12 weeks before pre-season, and we never touched the ball for 12 weeks. And we were playing at Olympic Park, training at Olympic Park, the Greyhounds, and then they had, remember the old velodrome?
Yes.
Well, they pulled that down, and now this particular Thursday night after 12 weeks, he said, "We're going to have a game." And we thought, "Oh, terrific!" And after 12 weeks, so he takes us out on this concrete pitch, two sides, and we're waiting for a soccer ball, and the captain said, "Well, what about the soccer?" "Oh no, we're going to play with an imaginary ball." And I thought, we're chasing shadows here, and that's how he was. But he was a very good coach.
Just a question without notice,
Yeah.
with that game with the imaginary ball.
Yeah.
Who won?
Yeah,
Was there do you remember
lot
the
of
score?
lot of hard tackles.
I can imagine.
Wow. Let's take a break. You're listening to The Pioneers with Dino DeMarchi, and this is one of the things that we do at FNR each and every week. It's tell the story, and in fact we allow the players to come in, whether they're players, whether they're members of the refereeing crew, or whether they're officials. We've had John Dentsis, who came in and told us about his time playing.
Quick shout out to John too, who has been in hospital this week.
Oh.
Best wishes from all of us at FNR. Hope you're well, John, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, and speedy recovery. And by the way, you have a crop of new members of the Pioneers to join us over the next few weeks. Who's coming in next week?
If he replies to my message, Sean Parton should be here.
Well, Sean, answer the message, because as you can see, Dino DeMarchi answered our response, and he's having a good time.
We're having a good time.
Back with more in just a moment.
You're back on the Pioneers, and we're having a ball here with our guest, Dino DeMarchi. Thanks again for joining us, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to throw a few little questions again, or some names, word association. See how you go. Give us a description. Ulysses Kokinos.
A very good player.
You played with him at Juventus,
I played
right?
with him at Juventus. Yes, he only played one season, but he was very good, very quick. It's a shame that he didn't carry on his career, because I don't know what happened, but yeah, he was very good, very good to play with.
And a character.
And a very character, yes, he sure was.
And
Yeah.
what was he like in the dressing room?
He was quite good in the gym, because we didn't joke very much in the dressing rooms. 'Cause
All
the coach-
business, huh?
All business, yeah. It was, before the
That's
game,
probably
it was all
why you only
business.
got a season out of Ulysses.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he loved life, he loved
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
and he loved football.
Yeah, I can tell you a story. We had a bloke called George Cannell. He came from Scotland, and we used to come in the dressing room, and before the game, he used to go into the toilet with his little cigarette and a bottle and a glass of scotch, have it before the game. Come in at half time, we'd have a cup of tea or an orange. He'd be back in the dressing rooms and in the toilet with his little bottle of scotch and
A little chaser.
and a cigarette. Yeah, some of the characters are just.
If it works for you, it works for you.
Oh yeah.
Now, again, this red card and this non-violent career, but we've just found out in the break that you've snotted someone else.
Yes, I did. Apparently, a bloke about I don't know 6 foot something, a bloke called Cheeto Cherkovic at St Kilda football ground. I was walking away and he actually spat on the back of my neck, and as he walked past me, I tapped him on the shoulder, and as he turned around, I just went whack and knocked him out completely on the ground, and just walked away as if nothing had happened.
As you do.
As you do, yeah.
So another one you got away with.
Yeah, I got
So I
away
reckon
with
if this show went for 2 hours, we could probably uncover a few more that you got away with.
Yes,
Possibly.
yeah, there could be another one, yeah.
Yeah.
Could. I like that. Could.
Could.
Yeah, against Faulkner. Faulkner was another incident. Playing against, we played at Faulkner, and we played against Park Rangers, all ex English and Scottish boys from State League, Croatia and Hakor and all that. And I said to the boys before the game, I said, these are all English and Scottish boys. We're all an Italian club. They're going to call, in those days you could call names, you know. And I said to them, be careful. And 10 minutes into the game, a bloke called Tony Schipano, the bloke must have said something to him, and just went whack, and he went off.
The Skippy got caught, did he?
The Skippy got caught, yes, and he got sent off. And then about 10 minutes after, a bloke called Gus McLeod's brother headbutted me. But
Frank?
Frank McLeod, yeah, he actually headbutted me, and I didn't do anything. I just stood there, but the referee caught him and sent him off. And then I was going towards goal, and a bloke called, I forget his name, he was with Croatia. He came behind me, and he hit me from behind, and as I went down, he punched me in the mouth, and I had blood coming out. So I looked around, I thought, oh, there he is, number 11. He's running up the park, so no, he's not going to get away with this. So I chased him all the way up the park. I tapped him on the shoulder, and as he turned around, I hit him, but I hit him in the wrong way because I was bleeding from the hand and also from the mouth. Went over to the sideline, and the masseur come on, and the masseur come out, and he says, I have some water, and this is the truth. An Italian guy come out, and he says, don't drink that stupid water, here's a bit of grappa. So I put the grappa in your mouth and stopped the bleeding.
Excellent. Now, I don't want everyone to think you're just a violent character. You're a superstar. You can score goals for fun. Now, there was a period when you weren't getting a game, right?
Yes.
A long period, playing in the resis, but you loved the club and you loved your footy, so you did what you had to do. You waited, bid your time, but you enjoyed playing, so you didn't care really.
That's right.
And then the opportunity came, I think, was it under Tony Bogey? Am I right?
No, under Vic Janchik.
Vic Janchik?
Yeah.
All right.
And
they called on you?
Yeah, at Middle Park.
Tell us about that.
Against Tarkoa. And
How long had you been out for?
Oh,
Or not
from
playing?
the start of the season. I think
Okay.
it was halfway through, half of the season I got my first game.
Yeah.
And I scored a hat-trick. With my first game, I scored a hat-trick, and then the week after we played against Croatia, and I scored a hat-trick against Croatia, and then the week after we played against Triestina, and I scored another hat-trick. The week after, I didn't score and I was taken off.
I was going to say, were you arrogant or cocky about the 3 hat-tricks,
No,
but
I
they
wasn't,
didn't give
no.
you a chance on the 4th week, did they?
No, they didn't. They took. I didn't actually get a game the week after, and
That is amazing.
not being myself, but the crowd started to.
I reckon there would have been bonuses here, and if he'd scored again, they would have had to pay a big time.
Well, there was bonuses,
Yeah,
wasn't
there was a bonus in '69. Tony Longo's son, Mario Longo of Aquila Shoes, he came up to me and he said, for every goal you score, there'll be a bottle of champagne. And Greg, what's his name? Incantalupo's father came up to me and said, for every, what's the name, you score, will be a bottle of champagne on shoes. So I said, oh, that sounds all right. So in 9 weeks, in 3 games, I got 9 pairs of shoes. I finished up scoring 23 goals. I got 23 pairs of shoes and 23 bottles of champagne.
Well, all I can say is that the 50-year anniversary with you and Liliana will go down really, really nicely with all those bottles of champagne. Finally, you're going to open them.
Oh yeah, they're already gone. In those days, we drank.
We've had an absolute delight talking to Dino DiMarchi. And George has got one last piece before we let you go. What is it, George?
No, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. It's been a blast spending time with you on and off air. Well done. Kind of great career. Another true pioneer of the game. Congratulations. I want to thank Lou Nudella from the Moreland Zebras, who also helped with the research this week. Champion bloke. Well done. Thank you, Lou. Thanks again to Tanya.
And thanks to Liliana for giving us access to a real pioneer.
Absolutely.
An Australian-born Italiano
Yep.
who had a fabulous time playing for the boys in the black and white.
Sensational.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic.